Government is the organ in charge of all the political direction and control exercised over the actions of the members of the society. In every nation all over the world, there are institutions that concern themselves with regulating the daily affairs of the citizens in all their dealings. These institutions are called the government, and the people are called the citizens. You are welcome to You.Gov. I am Itohan Olomu-Agbodo. How well do you understand the role and responsibilities of the government? We'll tell you more after this time out.
Lovewell Plus app is bigger and better. Watch all our shows with just a click.
Let him have the right to decide what happens with your body.
Watch inspiring, informative and entertaining programs. You can comment, like and share. Watch our live TV and web TV on your mobile devices. Watch the big stories in real time or when you have the time. Experience Lovewell Plus app right now. Download Lovewell Plus app on Android, iOS and BlackBerry. Go to Google Play Store, Apple App Store or Windows Phone Store. Welcome to the bigger picture. Lovewell Plus, beyond television.
It's about you and the government. What are the responsibilities of the government? Do citizens have any obligations? You get to find out who runs the society, the relationship between citizens and their government. You.Gov brings you all you need to know about the government and you.
A man generally known to be of very high moral rectitude, he is discipline personified. A former head of state who had a 20-month stint between January 1984 and August 1985, peace-loving Nigerians can only pray, support, and wish him a successful tenure as he embarks on the democratic governance of our great nation, Nigeria.
More than ever before, the world is rapidly on the move and more integrated than ever. How far we go
depends on how well we understand our world.
We are here to help make sense of it all, whether politics, business, sports, or entertainment.
We bring you unbiased analysis of events,
places, and people making the news. You can count on Lovewell Plus News.
Stay close to the news.
Stay well informed, always on Lovewell Plus.
You're welcome back. This week we're looking at government functions and responsibility. We're going to share this topic with a series of experts in their various fields of endeavors, and one of them is Barrister Destiny Obumtakon.
The government of every nation could simply be defined as an institution that has a custody, trusteeship, or guardianship of the supremacy or legitimacy of the people of that country.
Okay.
To govern and to provide welfare, security, and other duties that are generally associated with governance the world over.
Okay.
That institution is what is called government. It comes in various forms. You could have a civil government, you could have a military government.
So can you just simplify what government is?
So as I was saying, government is the body of people in a country. I'm trying not to use institutions again. A body of people in any given country who are empowered by the people of that country, by one way or the other, to take custody of the power, because power lies with the people. Legitimacy, anything that is done by government that does not flow from the consent of the people, whether positively, tacitly, or positively, then it is said to be legitimate. So it is the legitimacy of the people where actions of government, policies of government are measured against how well they impinge on the life and welfare and the good of the people, and as to if that is what the people want. So government is that body of people who have been given the responsibility, they've been given the power by the people to organize them, their life, give them protection, give them security, provide roads for them to travel freely, hospitals, schools, and other institutions to make their lives good.
What are the responsibilities of the government?
Well, government's responsibility lies primarily in providing an enabling environment for the citizens to excel and to be at their best, their best productive ability in all spheres of life. So that is a basic duty of government, to provide that enabling atmosphere. It means that people must be free to walk around freely from one city to the other and within cities without let or hindrance, without them being disturbed by armed robbers, by hooligans, by thugs. So that's the enabling environment. So that somebody can move using Nigeria, for instance. Somebody can move from Lagos to Port Harcourt by road without the fear of him being stopped,
attacked on the road
by armed robbers. So, and then also to ensure that that road on which the vehicles are going to move with him, that the roads are well maintained. And then also, of course, there are a lot of other policies. If I'm going to transact business in Port Harcourt, that is straight, I might need money. What are the regulatory policies that government has in place, for me to access loan, facilities, funds, financial facility to enable me to do my business? That is a part of an agency of government called the central bank comes in regulating a monetary policy.
So government,
government provides an enabling environment. Basically, that is government's responsibility. So government has to provide all those things so that the citizens can live a good life. Make sure there are hospitals, make sure there are schools, and the schools are equipped, their laboratories are functional for technological and scientific development and experimentation. All these things are the duties and functions of the responsibility of government.
So interesting. Barrister Takon has been telling us about the functions of the government, provision of basic amenities, including loan facilities, and he talks about an enabling environment
provide security.
To provide security for the citizens.
The army, the police, and others. And then, of course, you could have internal aggression and also external aggression. Like where MASOB, in the case of Nigeria, MASOB would barricade the Onitsha Bridge and say citizens can't pass there. It's the responsibility of government to dislodge them. It is government's responsibility to do that. And if the Republic of Cameroon were to go beyond Bakassi and enter any part of Cross River State or of Taraba State, all of the states that are adjoining to it, if we annex or invade any of the villages inside, beyond the border, it is the responsibility of government to defend the people of Nigeria, the citizens, by sending our soldiers there to ward them off.
Well, I've been chatting with Barrister Destiny Obum-Takon, our lecturer for today in this Mr. Lecturer segment of The Government and You. Barrister Takon has been telling us a lot about the government, the functions, and all that. But Barrister Takon, I would just like you to give us the last word on this topic: government, functions, and all that.
Well, on the last note, I said before that government's actions and policies have to be legitimate. And for them to be that, they have to flow from the perspective of catering for the welfare of the people, because that is a trust of governance the world over. Every policy of government, every action of government must be measured on how it impacts or impinges on the lives or welfare of the people. And so to the extent that any action that does not positively, as I said, impact on the welfare of the citizenry is an illegitimate action. And so with this in mind, those in government the world over must always remember, in formulating policy and whatever laws it is that they enunciate, they must have to consider the fact that the power, as I said, resides with the people. They are only custodians, they are trustees for a limited time of the power, of the supremacy, of that country. And so they should never forget that, of course, time would judge them based on their actions, so that when you have opportunity to go there, it should be an opportunity to imprint your name on marble, as far as the annals of the history of that nation, are concerned, so that you will be said today and mentioned like Abraham Lincoln of the United States of America, Jefferson and others, and Roosevelt President Roosevelt and Churchill of the UK. It is because these men stood and carved a niche for themselves. That's why today they have become institutions in those countries. And so with every other country, and especially my dear country, Nigeria, we can only hope that our leaders would borrow a cue, take a cue from there and imprint, institutionalize themselves as far as this nation is concerned. So government is not an opportunity for self-aggrandizement. It is not an opportunity for you to go there from a near pauper to a trillionaire, and then everybody says you made it. It is criminal. It is illegitimate. It is ungodly.
Government indeed has numerous functions. We also spoke with Sam Ohabonwa, and we'll take a listen to that interview.
Government is an institution which is set up in most civilized societies to be able to offer and organize common services for the citizens. It is aimed at doing what each citizen cannot do for himself, or what if each citizen wanted to do will cause complication and will cause confusion. Governments are set up to order society and ensure that the happiness and the well-being of the people are enshrined. Government consists of people that have been elected or appointed by the people who are the owners of the nation or the society. They are called the sovereign. The sovereign power resides with the people, but they decide to hand that power to a group of people elected to be able to represent them and take actions on their behalf.
Government indeed has numerous functions. We also spoke with Sam Ohabonwa, and we'll take a listen to that interview.
In usual societies like in Nigeria, we have three arms of government. We have the executive, which has the power to implement the things that will bring development and progress and safety and happiness to the people of the country. We have the legislature. The legislature is responsible for making the laws to guide relationship between each individual in the community or in the state and other organs, other players in the state. They make the laws. The third arm of government is the judiciary. Judiciary interprets the law. So if there's any dispute between two citizens about a particular issue, they go to the judiciary to say whose view of this is correct. Is it mine or yours? Who has trespassed? Sometimes they even make laws to guide states, organs of government or society. So that is what government is. And for me, their whole essence is to organize society. And there are certain things that are very basic. Each government must provide, otherwise they don't have any reason to exist. Number one is security of lives and property of the citizens and even non-citizens, but who operate within that geographical jurisdiction. Secondly, they provide an environment that is conducive for people to live and work. So beyond safety, physical safety, they provide environmental that is conducive for people to live and work. And thirdly, they make it easy for people to exchange values, in which case I'm able to create value and exchange it with you so that I can satisfy my need and you satisfy yours. So these are the critical issues that government does. Well, the issue is that if government had all the resources, it could provide everything for its citizens. But it has been proven that government will never have enough resources. So government will normally prioritize take the areas that they are best at, the areas that the money they have can do. And that's why I spoke about safety of life and property, provision of basic environmental cleanliness, roads, and ability for you to interact. Government can provide electricity, but we have found that because of insufficient funding, and two, because of the ownership structure of governments, they are not the best people to participate in services that can yield profit. So what governments do is they are gradually walking away from those things that the private sector can offer at a better efficiency, even though it could cost the citizen a little bit more money. But you see, that citizen paying a little bit more money is only on the surface. Because when government is offering that service, it offers it inefficiently, insufficiently, and you are at the same time paying taxes. You pay your tax, then there's not enough light, you go and buy generator, you go and buy diesel. But if we handed the power generation to the private sector, the private sector may ask us to pay more per kilowatt. But at the end of the day, it will be cheaper than the other ones who are paying for all these inefficiencies of government. So governments all over the world are walking away. Some of them put investment up front to set up such infrastructure like power, like airports, like railways. They put up money because they cost a lot of money. But then running the airline should not be run by government. But they've laid the air track, they've laid rail track, they've done the roads. So they build that basic infrastructure, then the private people can then do the connection, moving people from one point to the other and getting paid for those services. Education, for example, is critical for government. Every government must provide basic education and train its people. Healthcare is critical. Basic healthcare, primary healthcare is function of government. So healthcare, education, population control, these things are basic government function because it's not easy for individuals to do them. And if individuals private sector were to price education properly or price healthcare properly, only a percentage of the public can afford it. So in those areas that the average person cannot afford, government must intervene to make life and make things accessible even to the poor in the environment. Well, it was because they found that there were conflicting needs. Each time we have a panel of human beings, just like the four of us here, and there's a given amount of money available for four of us. Sometimes we may kill ourselves to decide who gets what. So we hand over the thing to one guy called government and to take a decision on behalf of us. So we don't kill ourselves, and we believe that he will use the resources well. We believe that he has information and technology to know how best to deploy that fund. So that's how it evolved. Government evolved from the fact that it is agreed that where there's scarce resource, that the distribution or the exploitation or the utilization of this resource is better used where to create greater good for the greater number. It may not satisfy everybody, but the greater number, that's what the public good. So public good is a concept that has led to the establishment of governments.
It's nice to know what government means and the role of government in the society. Now we'll head to the streets of Lagos to get the perspective of citizens on government and its functions. Don't go away.
Why do we root for our teams? From Africa to the EPL, to La Liga, to the Serie A, whether in tennis, football, basketball, or any other sport. We find ourselves deeply invested in the outcomes of our teams. Sports Roundup brings you the ins and outs, the highs and the lows of the games we all love. Stay with us as we dissect sporting events around the globe.
Lovo Plus app is bigger and better. Watch all our shows with just a click.
Let him have the right to decide what happens with your body.
Watch inspiring, informative, and entertaining programs. You can comment, like, and share. Watch our live TV and web TV on your mobile devices. Watch the big stories in real time or when you have the time. Experience Lovo Plus app right now. Download Lovo Plus app on Android, iOS, and BlackBerry. Go to Google Play Store, Apple App Store, or Windows Phone Store. Welcome to the bigger picture. Lovo Plus, beyond television.
It's about you and the government. What are the responsibilities of the government? Do citizens have any obligations? You get to find out who runs the society, the relationship between citizens and their government. You.Gov brings you all you need to know about the government and you.
When you talk about government, you're referring to what we call an institution. Like if you go back to the, historian age, where you have the Greek, empire, you have what is called the Leviathan, especially in law. Now, the Leviathan had to be people whom power and authority is given to in trust for other persons. But the primary definition of government, as it stands in Nigerian context, can just be said a machinery through which the will of the people is being achieved. When I say the will of the people is being achieved, I'm referring to life, I'm referring to security, I'm referring to infrastructures, and I'm referring to other social services. Now, if any government who could not adequately provide for those basic needs of the society, then such a government does not worth existing.
Government is people's-oriented governance, whereby people have their say in the day-to-day running of the state. We have parliamentary system of government. We have presidential system of government.
You and me are the government. The will of the people, what the people are thinking for, the good mindset of you and me make up what is called government. What we have is a presidential system of government in Nigeria. That's what we are operating. But in a nutshell, presidential system of government is the government that the decide to the other department. No, we cabinet system of government, like what is operative in Britain, right? With the prime minister is a ceremonial head of state.
Bravo, I never knew these people knew so much about the term government. It's interesting to know that even on the streets, you can hear people talking about what government is. And looking at the topic government, we know that there are three basic arms of government: the legislature, the executive arm, and the judiciary. These various arms have their functions, and we have some more tidbits on you on this topic. Don't go away. Like everything under the sun, there is time for everything. What was your takeout from our discourse today? We learned about government, the arms, the functions and responsibilities. Remember, it's all about you and the government. You can join us by logging on to www.lovoplus.org or download our app, Lovo Plus. I am Itohan Olomu-Agbodo. See you same time next week. Bye for now.
Get a global picture of news events around the world in 30 minutes. We'll bring you top news headlines that made the week, plus the most compelling stories. And my panel of journalists and experts will dissect, analyze, and prefer a way forward. Join me every weekend on Newsweek.
Newsweek, showing on the station.